Before we start the show, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Astrolabs. Astrolabs is a capacity building company. They work with both entrepreneurs and corporates. They have a great range of services from licensing in Saudi Arabia and in the UAE to co-working spaces, to online learning digitally and in person. There's a lot of offers for the listeners of Conversations with Loulou. You can visit the page astrolabs.com/Loulou. Loulou is Loulou, and you can avail some great discounts and offers on all of their products. So once again, you can visit astrolabs.com/Loulou to check out all the offers that they have. Welcome to Conversations with Loulou. My name is Loulou Khazan. I'm an entrepreneur living in Dubai, an investor, a mother, and your host. My guest today has been named a GCC Young Achiever for 2021 by Arabian Business. Forbes Middle East featured her in the top 10 women behind Middle Eastern tech brands for 2021. Nadine Mezher is the co-founder and chief marketing officer at Sarwa. Sarwa is a digital financial advisor for young professionals. And Sarwa recently announced a Series B funding round of $15 million, bringing their total investment to date to $25 million. You can read more about Nadine in the show's notes. So Nadine, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Loulou, for having me. I'm excited.
Thank you for being here. So Nadine, are we good at saving in this region?
We're learning. I think we're learning. We were just talking before the episode,
Yeah.
but basically what you see now is a change in consumer behavior and in financial habits in the region. Initially, we're not a region that's really known for saving. We don't. There's a lot of different reports out there that give you like a lot of various numbers when it comes to what is the saving percentage, right? But what we know is it's a small percentage of the population that actually manages to save. And if they do save, they tend to either keep it in a saving account. So that's money not working. This is money losing to inflation, right? Your saving account is not generating an income from that money that you put there. So that's one. Two, a big percentage, especially regionally, it's a culture of buying assets, and we're talking about real estate assets, right? So when you have money you save, you go and you buy a house. A house is great if you want to have that emotional stability because you want to live in it, you feel it's your own, but as an investment, it's not the best investment. Because again, it depreciates, there's a lot of expenses associated with it, and you're not, again, generating the best returns. So these are a few things that have been typical of the region. Now, you see more people investing. So the younger generation is into investing.
Yeah.
And that's great. The only thing that we need to focus on is smart investing. How do you do it smartly? Because if you're actively trading and in and out and buying and selling, again, research and data shows that this massive active trading loses you money instead of actually helping you grow your money, which you are able to do very simply on the long run, right?
Yeah.
So you have to not wait for like the short-term gains, but focus long run.
Yeah. Not put all your money in crypto, basically what the young generation is doing.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? You never know when it's gonna break. So make sure that you have it in different places, so at least you diversify and you protect yourself.
Okay, so that's what you're trying to tackle at Sarwa. So maybe talk us through, so when was it launched?
So Sarwa's idea started developing in 2016. We incorporated the company. So it was my partner, Jad and Mark. They were in Canada at the time, and they were talking about, what do friends and family do in the region, in the Middle East in general. They realized it's really saving accounts or real estate. These were the two options. So they started thinking about the idea, contacted me. I was here. They're like, what do you think? Is there an opportunity? I started doing some research and trying to help them out, just understand the market. They decided to go for it. 2017 they came. So end of 2017 we started the company together. We incorporated in the IFC, part of the fintech hive. So we were part of the first class of the fintech hive at the IFC. We were the first to graduate. First, to get the innovation testing license by the FSA. So again, we were the first fintech to receive this type of license. So to be able to actually give investing to young professionals, so to retail clients. And so we launched the platform in February 2018.
Okay.
That was officially the Sarwa launch. And it's been growing very fast, and
clearly
we've been really happy.
So what do you offer today? So if I come to Sarwa today as an individual, what can I get on the platform?
So we're becoming really a digital investment platform, right? What our vision of Sarwa is for it to be a personal finance app for every finance need that anyone needs, right? So we started with pre-built portfolios. So we started with a product that we're calling Sarwa Invest, which is about long-term passive investing. So similar like a pension fund, right? So you put your money and it's put in a pre-built diversified portfolio made up of global assets, and basically it's the core of the portfolio is based on ETFs, exchange-traded funds. If you want, we can get into that later, but to simplify it, it's basically a very, very diversified portfolio, diversified in terms of assets. So you have stocks, bonds, and real estate exposure, and geography. So you have developed, emerging markets, and industries. So it's really across. So you actually balance your risk level and you optimize for returns based on that.
Okay.
So that's
and you
really
allocate these assets based on the individual's risk profile, right? And how much they earn and how much they want to invest. And is it something where the person has to invest on a monthly basis, or can they do a one-time investment and then leave it? Or how does it work?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay.
So, but we do recommend that you get into the habit of investing on a regular basis, of sort of like taxing yourself. So making sure that every month you put that small percentage of money aside.
Yeah.
This way you actually really build for long-term wealth.
Okay.
But if you ask me, I have now a lump sum of money. So I either got a bonus, or I actually have a saving account and I want to invest it. We always do recommend to put it all at once. But take a step first of making sure you have an emergency fund. So separate your emergency fund from your investment, because you never know what happens in life. You don't want to touch your investment plan. You want to be able to survive on an emergency fund if things change. You lose your job. We've been through a pandemic, so a lot of things happened where we didn't expect it to happen. So make sure you are able to survive, at least, depends on your family size, your personal situation, but 3 to 6 months, we usually typically say.
So your emergency fund, this is cash in the bank, basically.
This is cash in the bank.
Should cover 3 to 6 months.
With a good saving account, because now saving accounts are giving you some returns, at least, just to cover inflation.
Okay.
So yes, this is money in a saving account. So that's the next product we're launching, Sarwa Save, where you're able to actually put also the emergency fund there.
So the money that, so you made a good point now, because I can't withdraw my money from Sarwa anytime. Sarwa anytime.
You can. It's your money, your account.
You can. Okay.
No penalty, no lock-in.
Okay.
No
lock-in.
We don't force you to do anything, but we do recommend things for you, and we do try to help as much as we can. But in case you need that money, of course, you can access it anytime.
So it is liquid. I can just liquidate and take my money.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Interesting. So you started doing this. You started doing this since 2017. So now you have Sarwa Invest, right, which is your first product.
Yes, and the next product we're launching is Sarwa Trade.
So
that's
Trade.
Coming very soon.
Okay, which is
a zero commission trading platform. So basically, a lot of our clients were asking us, they love that the bulk of their money is into invest and it's long-term and passive.
Yeah.
There are مثلا few companies that they strongly believe in because they believe in the ethos, or they believe in a theme, a specific theme. So they still want that ability to trade.
Yes.
So that's why we're also launching Sarwa Trade.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing.
Perfect.
Recently, I think I don't know how people do it these days, but for me, we have a group of probably around 20 people that are on a WhatsApp group that kind of share insights and advice and so on. And then there's a bit of a communal thing to it, because like someone would give a stock tip and someone might invest or not, and then we track it and we see, okay, it's doing well, it's not doing. But to your point, first of all, it's time consuming. You need to really, spend the time to read about these companies and understand the sector. Otherwise, you're definitely going to lose money.
That's true.
And even in that case, even in our case, we still, lose money and win money. Maybe that's part of the thrill of it. I'm not sure.
Which is great. Like, it's fine. You should be able to do that, and we should be able to provide people in the region with a platform to do that.
Yeah.
Just make sure that you put a percentage you're comfortable losing into trade, right? And the bulk, like we say, is put it, in an account where it's well diversified, it's long-term, it's passive, but have that ability to actually choose things also from time to time that you like, and you track and you see how it's moving. So that's also part of why we wanted to do that. Is you do have platforms that allow you the ability to trade here, but none of them. Very recently, there's one that launched here, but before there was not one single one that was based out of the region. So there's one that had a rep office here, but the rest are actually based abroad. And so there are few pain points to that.
And do you feel that that's that people would prefer to invest with a platform locally, or would they rather do it internationally? I mean, where do you see the added benefit of doing this here locally?
So locally, at least with Sarwa, the great thing is we have local accounts. So you're not actually transferring international money, right? You're not incurring that international transfer fee.
Yes.
And especially
that's a turn-off, by the way.
That's a turn-off, especially if you're doing it on monthly basis or active basis. So that's one thing. Two, you have regulations. We're regulated here. Local companies are regulated by authorities that are here, which means you have a complaint, there's someone you can go to. If something happens, there is an authority you go back to. With international companies, you can't do that. Customer support, we're here. You can call us, WhatsApp us, email us. We know for a fact that international companies, very tough to actually get the support, and they're already massive to start with, so they're not going to cater to the customer. They're not built for the market, they're not localized for the market. So there are a lot of different things that actually you end up losing on when you use these platforms.
Okay, so you'll be able to have a portion of your portfolio in ETFs, and a portion of your portfolio you can trade if you want.
Yes.
And I saw also part of your announcement, there was something about cryptocurrencies as well.
Yes, so we launched also part of Sarwa Invest is Sarwa Crypto, which is a well-diversified portfolio with an exposure that's 5% to, it's a fund that's very similar. Actually, they're gonna announce it as an ETF very soon, so it's very similar to an ETF. And it basically gives you exposure to Bitcoin. So it's a 5% exposure to Bitcoin.
So that's going to be interesting, because what I saw about Sarwa is part of the product is that you can rebalance your portfolio, right? So if you want a certain mix of assets, and then if one asset's underperforming or overperforming, it kind of throws everything off balance. So I think having crypto in the mix is gonna be interesting, right? Because it shoots up and shoots down, and
it does. But whoever opts into this portfolio, by the way, I'm one of them, understands. We do a lot of education also, Loulou. So we make sure that people understand that Bitcoin, even though the tech behind it is great and it's been behaving in the last, so it's been almost a decade, right? Really well. The reality is there's still a lot of speculation around it. So that's why it's still important to diversify your portfolio. Like we said, don't put everything into it. Make sure if you believe in it as a potential, asset that's going to be there, for the long term, but make sure then the bulk is also into other places. So it's not everything into that one asset.
And what I thought was great is that it's so inclusive to the point where you want to reduce the minimum to $5, which means anybody can have access to to investing, one way or the other.
Yes, and we did. So initially when we started Sarwa, it was $500. Recently, and that's for Sarwa Invest, right? So recently we brought it down to $5 because we want everyone to, again, not be scared of starting, which is a very crucial point, is you need to start. Take that step. And once you're comfortable with it, then, you know, you move your saving account, you move your wealth, then you feel really more ready to jump into it.
And this is great because I feel that that's like, you know, there's that barrier initially when it comes to everything that is saving. You always think, oh, I should have a lot of money, I should be making a lot of money to save.
Yes.
But now you're telling people, you know, you can start with $5.
Yeah.
So what are you seeing like on the platform? I'm curious. I mean, do you have a lot of depositors with like big big amounts, or do you have more smaller depositors with smaller amounts, like
everything?
So across the board. So are you able to attract these, you know,
Yes.
these guys that want to invest $100 or $500 or?
Again, yeah, it is a starting point for a lot of people. And,
Okay.
you know, if you take the UAE market, for example, which is a very diverse market, whether it's, you know, the backgrounds we come from, the financial situations we have, so you have all spectrums.
Yeah.
And Sarwa, really, when we started it, we always talked about democratizing investment. And this is what we're seeing now. We're seeing everyone from all backgrounds, all ages, regardless of their net worth, regardless of where they're from, starting to invest. And that's the beauty of it. But we do have high net worth, we do have big tickets, and we do have small tickets, and we do have everything in between.
Okay. And men, women?
Men, women, although I would love to see more women, the reality is every single investing platform in the world would tell you the same, that typically the split is anywhere between 70-80 and 30-20. So let's say
It's a major opportunity
80.
though for you.
Yes. And I've been really a big advocate of women in investing, like to close that investing gap.
Because the minimum is so small, right? Like there's no excuse, and why not?
You know what we've found out, which is very interesting from a consumer behavior perspective, that women, once they're on our platform, they convert fast. Like once they go on the website, they register, they fund. It's just about getting there. I think that's the biggest hurdle, because I hear it a lot from friends and community. It is, they feel they don't know enough, and the reality they do. It's not that complicated. Finance might be, let's say, the backbone of it complicated, but to start investing is not.
Yeah.
It's as simple as going on a website and registering. So we're trying to remove a lot of the barriers, and hopefully that's been working. So I'd love to see these numbers in a couple of years being 50-50.
But your main focus today is on the young professionals, right? So you want to get people who are working, who are young, you want to get them investing early and saving early.
Yes, and that's been a core message of ours, is especially the younger generation, because the earlier you start, the bigger the impact is.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's compound interest, right? So whenever you start investing money now, it's like a snowball, and it just grows and grows and grows and grows. So you invest, that money that you're investing is making returns. These returns are making returns on top of returns. So it becomes really, the earlier you start, the more exponential it is.
Yeah. So for a young person, you'd recommend that it's better for them to invest than to buy real estate, for example?
We have a very nice blog about real estate versus investing. The real estate issue is typically lower return. Yani on average, generally, compared to the stock market, it's much lower returns. A lot of people tell you, yes, but I have a physical asset. True. The physical asset is also not liquid, right? When you want to sell it,
it's not liquid at all.
That's the thing. You're locked into it.
You are locked.
Fee depreciation, fee maintenance work, fee expenses that go into that. So you just need to kind of, you know, put the cons and pros and cons, and then make the calculation. But generally, every research out there tells you stock market is much better. It gives you a lot more return. It's liquid, and the reality is, the global economy will always be trending upward. If we have a global crash of everything that we know as of today, okay, we have bigger problems than that. But today, given what we know, this is the best place.
But that's also cyclical. I mean, even if you have a crash,
100%.
usually there's a crash, and then whatever, 6 months, a year later, and then you're gonna rebound and move forward.
100%.
So switching gears a bit, I saw that you were an entrepreneur before Sarwa. So this is not your first gig.
True.
And can you tell us a little bit about it?
So I had a fashion brand. So my background, as you know, is a bit multidisciplinary. So I have a business degree, but I also have a fashion degree.
Okay. Do people know this?
It depends.
Or they know you as the face of Sarwa, the hardcore fintech.
Yeah, so this is definitely a new chapter in my life. And I think people within that community do not know about my previous life. And people within that community don't know about the fintech, the financial technology part. So it's quite interesting.
So you started in fashion and you did a shift to fintech.
Well, Loulou, I love working, and I started working very young. So in my family, my dad has always encouraged entrepreneurship, business ownership. So he had us working with him since we were kids. So I started working in his office when I was 14. Weekends, holidays, helping out. He would bring the office home. So I was handling his accounting, looking into contracts. So it was an amazing experience. Then he wanted me to become a doctor.
A doctor?
So again, very different career choices, I would say. But I did apply to FM, Faculté de Médecine. And I got accepted, and I was going into it. But then I decided I still have other passions that I wanted to tick off my list.
Okay.
One was, business banking, and one was fashion. So I'm like, I'll do that first. So I did both.
So you did business, so you didn't go into medicine at all?
No, shifted gears completely, surprised my dad with that.
What did he have to say about this?
Originally, he wasn't very excited,
but
then he started seeing also how, when I was helping with his work, there was actually real value out of it, whether it was accounting, strategizing, and so on. And I love the aspect of management and growth in business in general.
Okay.
And I finished business from AUB, American University of Beirut. Then I traveled to Italy and France, and I got my degree from Paris, not Paris. And I've worked in the industry a bit there, and then went back to Beirut.
Okay.
Continued working in the industry. So I worked with Zuhair Murad. He's an haute couture designer, amazing designer. I was his managing director. And then I worked a bit with Elisab. And then I opened my fashion house.
Wow. Okay, so your wardrobe must be a sight to see.
I think like all business owners, we focus on others, not too much on us.
Okay.
It's always been, what can I create for others? And I want to be comfortable in my daily attire. So it's a bit different.
Okay. And so you launched your own label?
Yes. That was a while back, and it was great. It became very successful very quickly. And unfortunately, then we had few changes in our country. So
in Lebanon,
yes,
as usual.
So it was a bit sad to let go, but then we invest so much of money, but also time and passion and hard work.
Yeah.
But then the reality is sometimes we cannot control what's happening in the country.
What kind of fashion did you?
It was couture gowns, so evening gowns, wedding dresses. I still bump into a lot of my old clients here. They're like, you did my wedding dress. And it's amazing. Like, it's amazing to actually relive this moment. But like any business, it has its moments of joy and challenges. So it was, again, a roller coaster. You learn a lot. And I brought a lot of these learnings into Sarwa today too. Okay.
I mean, I'm sure working with, a client that wants a wedding dress, I'm sure that there's a lot of customer service that has to go in.
It's very true.
Right?
Very true, yes. And how do you build that retention and life cycle, and how do you, again, it's a growth of a business. So how do you strategize growth within a given budget? And how do you make sure you're pushing on every channel? And again, A/B testing on every channel. Now, you have to keep in mind that marketing at that time was very different than marketing today. So it's always, again, a continuous learning. But bookkeeping, running a business, managing a team, all of these are skill sets that really help you eventually.
Okay, so you did the solo founder experience, and then now you have 2 co-founders with you at Sarwa.
Yeah.
So have you, I mean, what are some of the differences, let's say the main differences that...
That's a good question. I think one main value add is we pick each other up, right? When you have your own business, you go through all the emotions and all the moments by yourself.
Yes.
Which is, sometimes it's amazing because you feel extremely productive, when, there's the ups, and it's just exaggerated. It's something that's, I can't describe really, but then when there are the moments of the challenges and when you need to keep going and persevere, it definitely helps when you have co-founders, because when your energy is low, someone can pick it up. And then when their energy is low, then you know that you can keep pushing and you can keep just driving. So it balances.
Every time when I speak with aspiring entrepreneurs and I'm doing like mentorship sessions, I always get asked this question, especially from solo founders. Should I get a co-founder? Am I going to succeed on my own? Do I have to do it? So
you can. Of course you can. But also there's different skill sets, different characters, different personalities.
Yes.
And, you can take these tests online. There's a few I'm not going to mention, but really, really well-developed tests where we've done that as co-founders to see our skills and where our strengths are and where are the opportunities for developments are. And it's amazing how we...
Like a psychometric test, basically?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's great that when you see these things, you realize, okay, there are skill sets that, I might have that, one of my co-founders doesn't, but they would have other skill sets that are really needed to drive a business such as, Sarwa or in financial technology and so on. So definitely it brings different skills to the table.
Yes.
And women versus men too, that helps.
Okay. How does it help?
To have a different perspective.
Okay.
You need different opinions on a table, you need different eyes on the market on a table, you need different affinities to the market. So women to women, I would understand more the needs potentially than, someone who has not been through these needed solutions that we face.
Okay.
And the other way around. And I think regardless, it's just different, again, skill sets.
Okay. Fair enough. So you've done both experiences, which is good as well.
Yes.
So just as a follow on to that question on the fundraising side, because initially you had your own business that I assume you funded.
Sure.
Like most solo founders do. And now you have a venture-backed business with $25 million in the bank. So it's a completely different experience as well. So also forget the sexiness of having so much money. Is it more stress? Is it more responsibility? How do you feel maybe on a personal level, having been through this is my business, it's my decision, it's my money, versus no, this is a business with 3 co-founders, I have a board of directors, I have shareholders.
Very true. You do have this responsibility for sure. But the mindset is the same. You want to drive a successful business. And you're all about strategy, right? So how do you strategize this? It's just about working with the resources you're given and the output that you can produce out of this. So ultimately, I wouldn't say that they're that different, because the reality is 2 core points you're trying to drive. 1, healthy unit economics. 2, growth and expansion into the market. Whatever business you have, we keep that in mind. So if you have a lot of money, then you strategize accordingly. You might get a bigger share of the market. and you want to grow faster and expand faster, and you have a small budget, then you're more about sustainability and how do you build again, like very, very smart,
a profitable business.
And
well, you do want to build a profitable business now as well.
I found that.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
And there's quite a bit of money in the market now.
True.
I mean, if you look at the startup ecosystem now, you're seeing massive fundraising rounds.
Yes.
100 million plus. That's good.
That's really good. Really good. I mean, we've been waiting for the ecosystem to develop in that way and to have more also international VCs looking to the region, which it's great. So now we do see more money coming in, more interest in the market, and it's a great market to be in, to be honest.
Okay, that's okay. You typically don't hear this a lot, by the way, about the great market, because everybody talks about the fragmentation and how each country has different laws and it's you have to have offices in every jurisdiction so you can operate.
Be regulated if you're in financial technology.
Yes, of course you have the regulation. Of course.
Yeah. But at the same time, because of this, it offers so many opportunities, right? And the reality is we need to kind of catch up as a region, as a market, to all the services that's been available in other places for a while now. Yeah. So that's why it's exciting, because definitely there are a lot of places to disrupt and to fix and to bring innovation. And I think it's the right time. Like now is the right time.
So how much did you raise initially? What was
it? It was a small round. It was around $290,000.
Okay.
So that's how we started.
And this you call it pre-seed or what do you call
seed.
it?
That was our seed. Okay. So from the seed round we had the VC, Shuruk partners, and they're still with us till today. Okay. So they come in on every round.
Wow. So then when it comes to advice, again, for fundraising, so you'd recommend having a VC, maybe try to get a VC initially, or...
I do believe it helps.
Is that what worked for you? I mean, other than having a great company and a great team, but on the fundraising side...
prerequisites, right? You have to have a great team and a great solution to a real problem in the market.
Yes.
But to fundraise... I do believe it makes things easier if you have, you are vetted by a VC. So down the line, a lot of other VCs were like, okay, this is a company that's been filtered. Due diligence has been done. So it makes the process faster. Yeah. But it doesn't necessarily work for everyone. It's not really just one winning formula, but I do believe it helped in our journey.
And I think it gets your governance on the right track as well from the early days.
Especially if you have a VC that's a strategic partner. Like people that actually want to help you succeed by being involved in mentoring, advising, telling you, okay, this is what you need to have. How about we fix this? Yeah. So a lot of it is proper corporate governance, yes, for sure.
Did you get no's?
From investors?
Yeah.
We got a few, yeah.
Did you learn something from the no? Or did you just...
Few things. I would say we learned that...
Was it a fair no?
Not necessarily, because especially at the time, I think the VC ecosystem here was also still maturing. And because the region, in terms of...
This is 2017 or 2018?
2017, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So it's not a long time ago, right? But and you've been way before us. But the reality is, you didn't have VCs that are expert in certain verticals, right? So let's say in financial technology, they sometimes would put you in comparison with e-commerce, and you cannot compare, right? So you need people that actually understand the industry to be able to know if what you're doing actually is right or if it's promising. So I think now you have more experience in different verticals than before. So I think I'm hoping that that's the case.
Okay. So was there a learning there? Was there because
yes.
You always go ahead. Tell me.
Is if you do get the opportunity to do that, choose your VCs and choose them to be long-term partners. Like make sure that they understand the business, they know what you're trying to build, and it's not just about giving you money, because you will need partners that are there for a long time and that support the growth and support you in your decisions. Like if they know you, they know your skill set, they will trust the decisions that you want to make. Because ultimately you will have some of them on your board. So you want to make sure that you have the right people.
Absolutely. I think this is great advice, by the way.
Thank you.
I mean, choose your VC, because I think people just, blindly shoot out their decks to everybody, and I think this is a big mistake. We had Noor Swed as well here on the podcast, and she just mentioned the same thing. She just said, do your homework. It's in the same way that the VCs do the due diligence on the entrepreneur. It's the same thing. Don't send it, to maybe a VC with a focus on e-commerce, as you said. Maybe don't send them a health tech deck, because maybe it's not going to work.
But sometimes you don't have many options.
Yes, that's true.
But we're building towards that place. I think we're growing into that space.
I think this is a very nice way, I think, to wrap up the discussion. I have just 5 quick questions where I need quick answers from you. Just something a bit slightly different from the conversation, but get you thinking about something different. So, what's your number 1 relaxation tip?
Depends on where I am, but I like dancing with the kids whenever I get a chance. So we just put music.
How many kids do you have?
I have 3.
3?
Yeah.
Okay.
And yoga, but I am more into power yoga. So I know it's not necessarily relaxation, but it helps.
What's power yoga?
So it's more like fast movements, but really about core strength.
Okay. Okay. I'm not into yoga, but I think it's definitely something I should look into. Yoga and meditation, they keep popping up everywhere. It's as if the world is telling me, you should try it. Yeah.
Or maybe also the algorithms are listening to you. So.
Yes, you're right. That's true. One thing on your bucket list.
Oof, tough one. So much on my bucket. Genetic research, going into health tech. And
genetic research?
Let's remove that. So Loulou, you're going to jump. What's on my bucket list? Going back to travel. I miss traveling the world.
Okay.
Exploring new places.
Yeah, that's the downside of being in a startup in the early days.
Yes.
You're working all the time. Productivity tool or a hack that keeps you focused?
Time management. I'm big on structuring my days to make sure that I can fit everything from work to family. So I go in the day before and I plug and structure my time.
Use a tool or the calendar tool?
Honestly, calendar. Something as simple
just the calendar, yeah.
But knowing what my tasks are. Of course, as a company, we use ClickUp. So I don't know if we can mention.
Which ones?
ClickUp.
ClickUp, okay.
Yeah. But me personally, for my own time management, I like just to have a view of my calendar and see. I'm a very, very visual person.
Okay. One tip for a happy life?
A balanced life.
A balanced life. What is a balanced life? Is that work and life?
Yes.
Is that what you mean?
Things that bring you joy. Sometimes we get, wrapped up in the daily stuff and you run. But again, you take that moment to breathe and you remember what really truly makes you happy, little moments. And I mean, I'm that kind of mama. I love going back home to the kids and just having that small quality time with them. So that's my balance.
Okay. Okay, since you spoke about kids, actually, one parenting tip. To each, we all have our own little tricks. Mm-hmm. I personally learned, because I wasn't necessarily like that, but I learned to always put myself in their shoes and always trying to remember what was going through my mind when I was their age, because we forget. And I realized very quickly we expect them to be adults in the way of thinking, but they're not. We want to live through them, I think.
We want to live through them. Yes. We also think that their brain is already developed, so we talk to them as if they have an adult brain. But scientifically speaking, their brain is not there yet. So there's a lot of learning they're going through. Like, again, going back to very small children, up to the age of 6, they don't see gray, they see black and white in terms of, life in general.
Yes.
So if you tell them, Mom, I'm going to take you somewhere and you don't, it's not because Mama's busy at ABC. You promised, you didn't keep your promise. So it's just it's a good reminder sometimes to help you process.
That's great. Thank you so much for the great tips and for sharing the Sarwa story and the products that you're offering and all the great work that you're doing. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you, Loulou, for highlighting all of this. It's been
Thanks.
really fun.
Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Conversations with Loulou. I really enjoyed the talk with Nadine. I hope you found it insightful and informative. It's actually the first time I meet Nadine, so I was very excited about it. I definitely encourage you to check out their website. It's sarwa.co, so it's sarwa.co. There's a lot of information on their blog. It's very easy for you to invest. I would definitely recommend that you check them out if you haven't been doing any investing yet. There's also a lot of information, as I said, on their blog and some tips and tricks to get you started. So, as usual, if you want to connect with me, you can go to conversationswithloulou.com. You can reach out to me for guest recommendations, for feedback. If you have any sponsorship requests or speaking requests or any other reason for you to connect with me, you can go to conversationswithloulou.com/contact. You can also follow me and support the show on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. You can find me on the handle Loulou Khazan across all of these channels. You can also support the show by checking out astrolabs.com. Astrolabs is the show's sponsor, and they are a capacity building company. They work with entrepreneurs and with corporates. They have a great range of services from startup licensing in Saudi Arabia and in the UAE to co-working spaces to online learning, everything in the digital space. So definitely recommend you check them out as well. There is a lot of discounts on all of their products. Exclusively for the listeners of Conversations with Loulou. All you need to do is visit astrolabs.com/Loulou, Loulou, and you can fill up a form and someone from their team will reach out to you. The discounts start at 500 dirhams and upwards, so I definitely recommend you check them out. So once again, I hope you enjoyed this episode and I see you again in a couple of weeks. Take care.